Hi there, students. Residential. Okay, residential is an adjective. A residential area. Okay, residential talks about a place which is for housing, is talking about where people live. This land is for residential use, for a residence. This is suitable for living in, an area of houses rather than factories or offices. So, if you don't live in the centre of town, you probably live in a residential area. It's where the town planning, or the zoning as the Americans put it, is for houses. So a residential area for single family housing, for multi-family housing, residential for mobile homes. Okay, so a residential area, a piece of land where it's suitable to live. The Americans also call these subdivisions, where the land is divided into lots and houses are constructed on them. Residential, suitable for or limited to residences, housing. And then we can also use this residential, meaning to live there. So I found myself a job as a butler, but it was a residential job, which meant I lived in the place where I worked. Or a residential course, a course where you live in the place where you study. There is a residential requirement if you are going to obtain this doctorate. So, designed for people to live in. The land has been converted from residential use to industrial use. Residential, occupied by private houses. Or providing accommodation in addition to the other things. So a residential sixth form college where you live inside. A residential nursing home where somebody lives in the nursing home. Okay, a residential care home where people are looked after in the facility. When people get old, very often they put them in residential care. A school which is a boarding school could be known as a residential school where you stay there the whole time. She's in sheltered accommodation but might have to go into full-time residential care. There will also be gardens available for these residential homes. A residential course, a 3-week residential course, you live in. We delivered all the babies from the nearby residential home. So residential where is where people live, particularly residential care, residential zone, a residential preparatory school, a residential neighbourhood, residential drug treatment where you stay there, you stay in the facility, a residential treatment centre for people who reside there, to live, a residence, a place where somebody lives. A residential area has houses, not factories. A smart residential area. A residential institution is one where people live while they are studying or being cared for or doing whatever is done there. So training involves a 2-year residential course. You live in this place for 2 years. A residential home for children with disabilities. They live in this place. Okay, so residential home is where you actually live. The town is a residential suburb. Um, all motorists seem to speed in residential areas. This department is responsible for providing residential care services. The land is currently zoned for residential use. I often go on residential summer courses. So yeah, if you go to summer camp, this is residential. You don't go home every night. You have to stay there. Okay, so residential as an adjective, an area of town suitable for living in, a quiet residential area, or requiring a person to live at a particular place or offering accommodation. A residential language course, a residential home for the elderly, a residential care for children. So there's a residential requirement for obtaining a marriage license. It's talking about living in a place. Let's see, residential. I'm going to give this, I think I'm going to give it a 6 in formality, but use it anywhere. And it comes from residence, to reside. To reside is a place where you live. Middle English residence, from medieval Latin residentia, residens, resideo, to reside, to live, to dwell permanently. So, residential. Bye for now.